if you look back at this past 30 years, is there one thing that you would mention that was key to keep this project running and the community running for 30 years?
Gosh, there's like no one thing I can point to that would like was key to making this keeping it going. I would say just in general though that having a community that uh is engaged, that wants to like do cool new stuff, I think is a really cool part of it. And I think part, when I say cool new stuff, I also mean like people are like trying to add stuff to FreeDOS that was not part of DOS, right? We shouldn't be limited by the original DOS. And if you look at our distribution, like we have this thing for the long time, we've had this concept called base. And that's the part where it's like, we're going to isolate all the stuff that was original DOS, right? MS-DOS basically in this base thing. But we also have a whole bunch of other packages that are not, that are going beyond, where people are getting FreeDOS to do stuff that original DOS didn't do. And I think that is a really cool piece about uh, one thing that's really kept us going. Is like, don't be limited by, your idea of DOS from 1994, right? I mean, think about what DOS could be. I don't think anyone on the FreeDOS list has ever had any kind of idea that DOS will become the next computing platform in the year 2000 and beyond. I don't think anybody ever thought that was going to be the case, but let's not let that be our limiter. And so you've getting people that are trying these new things on FreeDOS that, I mean, DOS just wasn't designed to do. There was somebody who did a really cool memory driver that can access like gobs and gobs of memory and a RAM drive. And it's like to access memory that you shouldn't be able to access. And I can't even imagine how you could fill that up because you're going to boot your machine and spend the next couple of minutes just filling the RAM drive with things. But it's still just a cool thing, right? And so I think that's the important thing about an open source software project is not boxing yourself in too much, is to always be willing to expand what the project is about, right? Why are we doing this? That's one thing, but what stuff can it do? And if somebody comes along and says, "Hey, I've done something that I think is kind of neat," celebrate that, right? Oh, that's excellent. And then accept it, right? Put that into the project. In a different type of project, you're going to have to include that in your code. FreeDOS is a distribution of a bunch of different programs, and so we try to find ways to include, cool stuff like that. It's really this idea. I think so many people on the FreeDOS project have basically shared this idea of let's try something cool. Let's try something that you couldn't do on DOS. If I were going to point to one thing, I would say it's sort of that sense of exploration. Let's just try something new.
Very cool.
I think that's an amazing reminder to just tell people that whatever the project can do today, that's not the limit, and always be open-minded and forward-looking and look for the next thing, even if it's unexpected and doesn't make sense to you at that point. But from the project's perspective, it's just one cool new thing that it couldn't do before or you didn't know it could do before.